Yeah, since the start of a brand new era at Swansea. That's what we're talking about on this week's Where Swans Walk. And as Leeds fans are saying, Swansea look the real deal. Are they? We're going to be asking our podcasting team that. And of course, is Fulton past it? Plus, we're talking about the Christmas fixtures, who's out of contract for the Swans next year, and the FA Cup draw is drawn this week. So who do these guys want in the third round? Welcome back, Jimmy, James, and Hugh. And thank you very much, of course, for tuning in as well. We're going to kick off, of course, with the brand new era. How's it feel, James?
Great. Honestly, it's like I said, it's been a long time coming. Just so happy to see them in the distance. We don't have to worry about them anymore. There was actually an interesting piece in the Wales Online today where Jason Levine crawled out from under his rock to give us one last slap in the face before he went, saying how he left the club in a better position than he found it in. He thinks that Swansea is a special place in his heart, despite the fact he only came here about a dozen times in 9 years. But correct me if I'm wrong here, gents. Going from 15th in the Premier League to 15th in the Championship, as far as I'm aware, isn't leaving it in a better place than you found it, is it? But good riddance to him, and I hope the massive loss he got for Salness haunts him every single night.
Yes, it's just they've left the club in a stronger position, says Coleman still is the decision maker, but Cravat and Co are still controlling owners and confirms they made a loss, or Diddums, but we'll pick up the bonus if the club is promoted. Yeah, cheeky innit. Hugh, good riddance.
Oh, yes. Couldn't be happier. I'm so glad they've gone. Parasites. And like James said, that comment has been winding me up all day. I've been biting right and centre on Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Got a nerve. Okay.
We are recording this before the midweek game, so we don't know how those have gone. So we are going to talk about the Leeds game, though, Jimmy. Oh, goodness me. First of all, best game of the season by far all year. So first of all, from a neutral point of view, thank you very much for that. I thought Swansea were amazing. I've got to be honest. I know you conceded 4 goals for the first time. You've conceded more than 1 for the first time this season. But were you impressed with your own side?
Yeah, it's a weird one because I normally don't ever come out from a game conceding 4 and I'm still relatively all right with what's happened. It's just a weird one because it's been all season. We can't score goals and we're really good at defending. So then we go and concede 4, but we end up scoring 3. It's just come out of nowhere. We started scoring goals for fun. But at the end of the day, the way I view it is we've gone toe-to-toe with the best team in the league by a country mile, and we've so nearly got a point, which we did deserve, I think. Absolutely. And it was a brutal way to end up losing the game. I think, you were still celebrating the 90th minute equaliser, and then all of a sudden I look up to the television and not goes through on goal for a 4-3. And it's frustrating, but at the same time, I really wasn't that worried about it. I mean, I've looked at our past results, and we've lost 7, and 4 of them have been Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom, and Leeds, and 3 of them were away. So I'm not all too worried with how we're performing at the minute. And as I said, going toe to toe with Leeds is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. Losing that game, maybe in the way we did, it was not ideal, but I think it's still a decent performance overall.
Just about Jimmy, James, we've heralded your defence all season. What was the difference defensively in this game? We know you're playing stronger opposition, and we know you've got lots of runners from all sides. But was there anything uncharacteristically that you spotted to explain why you shipped more goals in one half than you have in the whole of October?
I think it came from the pace out wide with Leeds. Solomon, Dan James. I don't think he and Timon have really been tested with that much raw pace this season, to be fair. A few moments where we switched off as well. And again, uncharacteristic for our defence because we've been watertight. But again, I think as James was just saying, they were so good as well. I got to go, Leeds on the attack were phenomenal. And I just don't think we've come up with a team with that much quality there. Like I said, we've lost the games by 1 goal. And just James and Solomon were just fantastic every time they came forward yesterday. I think that was just down to their brilliance, really.
Yeah, Solomon, of course, these fans were saying, who knew he had that in him yesterday? It was by far his best game. Hugh, I'd like to get your view on this one, though. Kyle says, pull the plug on Fulton. Please. Lina says, unusually poor defensively today, which has cost us. Also think Fulton has to go. He's past it. I feel harsh in asking this because, of course, it is Leeds, but have they got to point those posters?
Yeah, absolutely. I like him. Been a good servant at the club, but he's nowhere near good enough for Championship starter. He's a rotation player at best. I've been saying it for years, and I'll die on that hill. Like I said, he's a good lad. He's given his all for the club for the last God knows how many years, but he's not championship starter quality for me, nowhere near.
Okay. Josh Key, James, was another player coming for a little bit of criticism, especially for the goals. I can't ask you too much about it because we've actually had how great a season he's had so far. But was that one of his worst performances this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think he got a little bit caught up going forward, kind of looked a bit suspect defensively. Again, you can forgive that with just how good he's actually been up to this point. And I personally would like to see him a little bit further forward, actually play someone else at right back, give him a chance to go further forward.
Okay. Jimmy, Ben says, good game that. We need a far better bench, though. Only Bianchini actually impacted the game when he came on. And Harry says, proud of this team. We are getting there. To Ben's point about the subs, do you agree with that? You are light on the bench?
I mean, if we're bringing on Azim Abdullah to have come out and try and win the game, Leeds are bringing on Willie Gnonto off the bench. I think that probably speaks volumes about the difference in quality. Yeah, it's been an issue all season. We knew this. We haven't really got. I don't think we've got anyone on the bench who can really change a game. I thought Bianchini was good when he came on, but I still think we need more players who can just come off the bench and impact the game. Again, Vipotnik didn't come on, which is a difficult one because Cullen didn't do anything wrong in my opinion. He had a great game, another goal for him, but at the same time, when you're 75, 80 minutes in, do you just bring him on for a change up front, I suppose? But I think I said our new owners now have the easiest task in the world of what to do in January, just sign some wingers, because I think we're genuinely a couple of out wide players and maybe like a midfielder or two away from being right up there. So I think it's just a depth issue with us. We just haven't got them sort of players who can come into a game and impact it. And then obviously you have the issue of when we get to midweek games like this week, we haven't really got much option to rotate our first team, which means they all get tired.
Okay. Hugh, Swim away says, play like that every week and we'll be top 6. I've got to agree with him based on what I saw.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a stretch, top 6 still, unless we have a good January, like James has said. But I think the reason it was like that yesterday was because we're both possession attacking teams, and obviously that's why it was 4-3. I can't see us getting top 6 on the squad we've got. But yeah, I think we're definitely a couple of decent wins away from potentially getting there.
Okay. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. We know there's lots of other Swansea content that you can watch, including some award-winning content at the Football Content Awards this week. So congratulations to all those involved with that. We'll be there next year, I hope, with these 3 in London. What I wanted to do, though, is talk to you about the Christmas fixtures, if that's okay, because we are heading into the busiest time of the year. First of all, James, do you have any sympathy with managers or players that complain about 9 games in 30 games as a manager yourself?
No, not really. Not when you're getting paid handsomely to do it, to be fair. And it is what it is. They get a lot more time off than normal people. They get a little bit more of a blessed life. So I don't see an issue in it. Christmas has always been busy. Again, people have only really started to complain about it over the last couple of years. And you've seen like managers like Thomas Frank complaining, trying to get like FA Cup replay scrapped. So no, I like the busyness over the festive period. So you won't find any sympathy here.
Okay. Let's look at your fixtures then, Hugh. I've looked at these 8 fixtures, and then there's a 9th one as well because you also play Portsmouth again on New Year's Day. I can't see anything worrying here, maybe apart from Sunderland perhaps at home, but they're not too great away from home at the moment. This should be quite a Merry Christmas for you all, shouldn't it?
On paper, it looks pretty good, yeah. But as the boys know, with Swansea, nothing's ever straightforward. But yeah, I think we've got to be optimistic about those 8 games there. Yeah, the Sunderland one for me is a standout as the most difficult. But at home, got to fancy us against anyone at home. And the rest of the game, got to be looking to win them all, I'd say.
Jimmy, our Derby County fans, when looked at their fixtures, were furious because of this weird fixture where you've got the same team 3 weeks apart from each other. So you guys have got Luton away, and then you see them again at Swansea.com 3 weeks later. They've got Leeds So they were saying that's not exactly very fair in the most congested periods. Do you understand that point of view, or does it not matter? That you've got this. Why play one team 5 months apart and one team 20 days apart?
I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to play them twice, so I don't think it necessarily matters when you play. Obviously, you don't want to see it twice in 3 weeks, especially with someone like Leeds, because you're probably going to lose both games, and it's just like, you look ahead and you've got 2 games that are losses, but at the end of the day, you've got to play everyone twice, and I think, especially if it's a team like Leeds, I'd rather get out of the way, just because then you don't have to worry about playing a team like that for the rest of the season. As far as Luton goes with us, it's a winnable game, I think if you look at that whole thing, as you said, you could probably say we could win every one of them games, maybe bar Sunderland, and even then we could still have a go at them. So I think it's finally our chance to sort of establish ourselves as a team that can compete, and the only way we're going to do that is if we win, I say like 75% at least of these games until New Year.
Absolutely. I predict we'll be seeing Swansea near that top 6 by the time the New Year chimes come in. You can mark my words on that one, I think. Let's look, though, at the New Year calendar, and of course we're talking about transfers, and our baseline for that conversation starts by looking at the out of contract players for Swansea in June, simply because conversations need to start happening around kind of now, as James and Hugh and all of you have said. These contracts need to be sorted out. For you, James, what's the first conversation that needs to be had urgently?
It has to be Cabango and Darlin. Absolutely has to be. I'd go out there and say they're up there with the top 5 centre-backs in the league so far this season. Historically, we have been terrible with tying down our high-performing players when they run into the last year or so of their contract. Those 2 must be sorted, and they must be sorted soon. I know we've seen it with Ryan Manning, Joel Atibodia. We've seen it so many times over the last few seasons. The others, maybe Cyrus Christie if he does well this season, I'd offer him another year. But the main 2 has to be Cabango and Darlin. Has to be either one or ideally both. Get them sorted before the New Year.
If a bottom end Premier League club, let's say Leicester or Southampton, offered them a deal in January, given they've got 6 months left, they're going to go, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. If a big boy comes in and tests the water for them, we're probably going to be hard pressed to hang on to them. And then it's that gamble then of do you take a low offer or lose them for nothing in the summer? But again, this comes down to if we'd sorted it sooner, we wouldn't be sort of sweating a little bit now. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see someone come in for one of them in January.
Okay. Hugh, talk us through the right-hand side of that list for us. Christie, Allen and Norton.
I think they were right backs. I think we need them for depth. I'd probably keep them both, to be honest with you. Norton, he's coming to the end of his career, but he's been solid for us over the last 10 years. God knows how many long years it's been. I like Cyrus. I liked him when he was here the first time round, and I like him as a backup option now. Joe Allen's a difficult one because I love him with all my heart, but the amount of minutes he gets through now and his amount he's injury prone and for his wages, my head's saying no, but my heart's saying give him 10 more years.
Okay. You put him with the coaching staff?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Give them the statue, keys to the sea, give them the lot.
Okay. And Jimmy, complete the set by talking about Pedersen for us and the loan players.
Yeah, no, on all of them, to be honest. Pedersen should have gone in the summer, to be honest. I don't know how he's still here. I forgot he was still here, to be honest. I don't even know if he's been on the bench or anything. If he has, he's not come on. Bert Harris, he's had his glimpses. I think that little spell with Oxford in the game after, I can't remember where he was now, but he was good. He's sort of showing it. Then yesterday he was a bit poor again. He's just, I wouldn't go all out to get him back. He's not really one where you're just he's all right to this level. He's a decent option to have, but we can do better than that, especially if we want to be competing. And then Abbey has played one game, I think, and hasn't seen the field since. And I'm pretty sure Luke Williams called him out massively in the post-match interview in the game where he did play for not being good enough. So, and he's literally not even touched the field as a substitute since. So it was actually quite an annoying one because we're all quite happy to see him come in because it's like a backup centre half with a bit of pace about him. But I think it probably does play into the fact as well that Cabango and Darlin have been so good that he's just not really had a chance to break into the team, because normally our centre-backs are a bit dodgy and then someone gets in as a chance, but they've been so good, so there's been no reason for him to really see the field. So I think it's a no for all three for me.
All right. Thank you all for wrapping that up. We'll start talking about who comes in the coming weeks. Just to finish off with then, it is FA Cup third round draw, of course, this weekend. I'm not sure. I thought Swansea could do with a cup run, couldn't you, for a season of change? Not most clubs we spoke to have said no, knock us out quickly. It's promotion or relegation we're concerned with, but yeah, Swansea the kind of side that should be going for it, shouldn't they? I'd have thought. James, who would you like if I could give you the power to fix the draw?
It has to be Man City at home, just for revenge for what they did when they cheated us out of the game under Graham Potter. And to be fair, they're playing like a pub team at the moment. And let's be honest, Haaland wouldn't get a kick if Cabango and Darling were marking him, would he?
I'd like to see that battle, actually. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? Yeah, just good shout, Hugh.
He beat me to it. I was going to say the same. Because they're awful at the moment. B, for revenge. But I think actually I'd quite like Spurs away because I'd love to go to that stadium. I think it'd be a cracking day out. We'll be able to take a few thousand fans and get to experience a good stadium as well.
All right, Jimmy.
Yeah, I do agree with Spurs. I live in London for uni at the minute, so it'd be perfect for me, a little tube trip down across to Tottenham. But another one for me, probably Everton away. I've said it. I wanted to go to Goodison before they knocked it down, so I wouldn't mind that at all. Getting them, I just think for me, it's always because I live nowhere near Swansea. Just give me a good away day I can go to, because I'm never making it to home games. I'm not going to bother trekking 4.5 hours on the train for someone like Colchester at home. I'm just not going to bother. So I'd rather have a good away day.
Right. You've got me crying now. The thought of Goodison being knocked down, it's making me emotional. Can't bear it. Right, cheers, Jimmy. Yeah, no one said Swansea as their choice. Unbelievably, it's going to be it's going to be Luton, don't you? It's going to be Luton away to make it a triple header. It's the way it always goes. Right. Thank you very much. Put your comments below who you would want in the FA Cup third round, or let us know whether you disagree with any of those players out of contract comments that our team have made. And we'll see you the other side of these two games this week. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week.